Howdy folks, this is Blue Hair K, and today I'm joined by Keiko Kawasaki, Zelos1826 and Nostalgia Ninja to discuss the big news that Sega is releasing a 25th anniversary game for the Puyo Puyo franchise titled Puyo Puyo Chronicle. It's a thing, guys!
Yay, it's a thing!
It's a thing!
It's a thing!
I said to the guys here on the chat that there would be a 25th anniversary Puyo game. And they're like, so Kay, are you sure about this 25th anniversary game? I said, yes, watch this space. Lo and behold, the Blue Hair K was right. As he so often,
really.
yeah, as he so often is not in his infinite wisdom, one hastens to add. But the fact is, we have a puzzle RPG crossover. And the first thing that came to my mind was Puyo Puyo Box.
I know, right? You too?
I think everyone was like, this is Puyo Box. It's,
2.0?
yeah, Puyo Box 2.0, just without the broken controls with the first two games. But, you know, I know, but let's focus on the emphasis of the game. So, you play as Ol, and you basically go around the world of Prim. Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed, because I was hoping it'd be like the full-on Mardo world, but
Close enough!
it's, yeah, close enough. I mean, obviously, the Mardo world is closed, because since Sega acquired Puyo when Compile went under, obviously they changed the whole setting so that there wasn't any possible, I want to say confusion, but it's not really confusion, but altercations as it were. Because even though Compile had gone under, the whole Mardo thing was still very much theirs. And then when they rebooted as Compile Heart, and they made Seiya Monogatari, which was god-awful, I'm sorry, it was god-awful. Yeah.
I don't like roguelikes like that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Okay, so that little side out of the way, I want to get your thoughts on this first of all. I'm going to come to you, Keiko, because I think out of all of us here, other than myself, you're best qualified to comment about Puyo, especially like Sega stuff now. How do you feel about this action puzzle RPG crossover?
You know, I kind of want to see how it actually will go down. Because I tried Puyo Box rather recently, and then it's like, the battles are Puyo battles. Okay, sure. And the equipment actually like alters your gameplay a little bit. And some rings could give you more damage. Some rings actually change up like the rule set, that sort of thing. And didn't it like borrow a couple of like a little Puyo color appended to the enemy's HP bar? That implies there's color weakness. That might mean color weakness, a la Puyo Quest.
Yes, now I've noticed a trend that because Puyo Quest has been a rip-roaring success in Japan, it has taken off so huge, been a rip-roaring success, and it just goes to show you that Puyo is alive and well in Japan, but even after the Compile era, it's still strong.
And I think a lot of it comes from the characters alone. These the characters I've never even heard of. I know their names by just looking at their picture because they're that memorable.
But it's also, I also think it's a sense of familiarity. Yes, the characters are different in the Sega renditions of Puyo, but actually, they're not too dissimilar from the original formula. You know, the whole ARS arc. You got Amity, Rafina, Sig. That's one lot. You got Ringo, Risakuma, and Maguro.
If you go by their
surname, Risakuma stays as it is, but Sasaki and Ando, yeah. You still got that trinity, if you like. Yeah, so with the new protagonist, where are they going to go with her?
So you think they're going to add 2 more characters for the R and S?
There's every possibility that they will. I
Well,
mean,
at least we can call them the A-Team now.
da 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 da. Okay, copyright infringement. We could call them the A-Team, but no, just no. But then, having said that, yes, because you got Ol, Amity, Ringo, Ando, and Ali, the A-Team. You got those 4, but. Obviously, as we saw in the trailer video, different Puyo-style battles, actual combat, a la Puyo Box. Do you think they're going to use Puyo Box as the main foundation for fleshing out the battle system? Or are they going to go, say what they did with 15th anniversary and 20th anniversary? Because I did remember reading in an article that they're going to have 17 different Puyo modes. Are these 17 modes going to feature as part of the main battle?
Maybe like in boss battles, maybe? Because sometimes bosses kind of throw a gimmick at you and then be done with it.
Well, there is that, but I'm thinking more, and I'll get Nostalgia Ninja's input on this one. Obviously, with the way that Puyo is set out in, say, the other anniversary games, 15th anniversary and 20th anniversary, the storyline is locked in the sense that, you know, you start from the beginning, you go to the end, and what you do in between all that, you know, you get to choose your Puyo battle, whether it's Puyo 1 rules, Puyo 2 rules, Infinite, Chibi Rush, or whatever, right? Do you think that in terms of this new schematic that they've got for Puyo Chronicle, are they going to continue that on as being integral to the storyline, or is it going to be separate, a side quest type thing?
You see, I think for the most part, it's going to be like the standard battle system. You'll have the standard battle system where you're having one build of preset, and then they'll like throw a puzzle at you or two, and then they'll say, okay, defeat an opponent by using the Puyo chain power as your indicator for damage, and from there multiply by your level or whatever it is, and then send it to the opponent. That is one factor. The other factor that I'm considering is it might be a choose your mode or randomized mode for boss battles or everybody quest, because there is an everybody quest for Puyo Chronicle 4-player, I believe.
Yep, that's right.
Also 4 players, it says.
Yeah.
We don't know whether the game itself is going to feature online play. I'm hoping it does, but we'll come on to that a little later on, I think. But still sticking with the whole thing of, you know, is it going to be random when it comes to boss battles, or will you be able to choose the preset in which you do battle with?
Here's the thing. In the trailer, it also put in a snippet for Draco, who hasn't been confirmed yet.
We can drop the mic and say Draco is already confirmed. But it would make sense, I think, because if you look at it from this perspective, some of the older characters that appeared in the previous Puyo games, whether it's 20th anniversary or Puyo Puyo Tetris, discounting the Tetris side of things, I mean, if they come back, I will be extremely surprised, but I can't see it happening. I think those 8 characters are consigned to the history book. There's going to be a lot of people hoping that their favourite character comes back, and obviously we have the Klugaholic alongside with us, which is Zelos1826.
Hi.
Aside from the obvious, if of course they're going to bring any characters back, what kind of characters do you think they will bring back? Will they just stick to the tried and tested that's come through for, say, 15th anniversary, Puyo 7 20th anniversary? Or do you think they'll look at the pool that they've brought back in, say, Puyo Puyo Quest and introduce some of those, let's say Doppelganger Roll, Sariri, Harpy? I mean, what's your view on this? Zelos, what's your view on this?
I think it would be neat for them to implement some quest characters in there, like some of the ones that have been in there longer.
Even if they would be just like a passing NPC, it'll be like, oh hey, it's this guy from Puyo Quest.
That would be neat. I like that.
See, here's the thing. If we take another kind of RPG game, it kind of isn't, but in a sense it kind of is. Let's take the Naza Puyo series. You know, you're playing in an overworld, whether you're playing as Owl or Relu, and you have other NPCs, you know, some you can talk to, some will actually set you puzzles for you to try and clear. And there's always the emphasis of, oh, okay, it's this character, I know this character, say Nohoho, we know Nohoho, he's in Puyo 2. Nohoho, as we know, is in Puyo Quest. You know, as is Fufufu, as is Momono, as are all of the Mardo monsters. They're all in there.
There's quite a few Madao monsters.
No, they're all in there. How about these NPCs are characters from the past? They might just only be there in a cameo role, but they're there. So you might have side quests which involve you know, let's say Mamono, he's lost his rucksack, you need to go and find it. You go through a set of woods, up towards Elephant's Cave. The boss there is Zodaimao. Now, this is just an example. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but as a running narrative, this is just an example. Do you think that would be warmly received by not just people in Japan, obviously, but those of us in the West that are actually, you know, fortunate enough and lucky enough to enjoy this game series? Now, what would be your view on that?
That would be a neat little throwback, especially considering that whole like little backwards fetch quest in Mina de Puyo.
Speaking of on that terms, we obviously know that the main game itself is going to be the puzzle RPG element. That's all well and good, but there are some people which are intrigued by this idea, but are also hoping that you can put the RPG side to one side, because when it comes down to the brass tacks, Puyo is all about one thing: competitive online play.
So you're hoping that it has some form of online play.
Well,
Not just the Puyo aspect.
Well, this is what I'm getting towards. Obviously, 15th anniversary had online play. Well, the DS version did. The other versions did not. Puyo 7 had online play. People enjoyed that. 20th anniversary had online play. Okay, didn't have every single mode going. It would have been nice if Pair Puyo was online, but
That's a bit of an internet synchro issue.
Yeah, I think that'll be a nightmare. It'll just be riddled with such desync issues. But you know where I'm going with this. You know, they say they have 17 Puyo modes, right? I don't know about you guys, but 15th anniversary, we had some nice-ish modes, right? We had a couple of new modes thrown in the mix. When it came to 20th anniversary, we got Puyo Sun as a mode. That was 5 years ago. We're now in 2016 with Puyo Chronicle coming out, which will be the 25th anniversary game. I'm hoping that one of those 17 modes honours Puyo Puyo.
It very well might.
You know, that actually
That
might
would be
happen.
interesting because I've never played Yon. Like, when I first played 20th, I'd never played Sun. So that mode was new to me. It was cool.
Nostalgia Ninja, over to you.
I think that would actually be an awesome idea. Maybe they'd use like the ability system, because the ability system is actually fully set for that. I don't know for offensive type of abilities for Yan, but I think as well probably it could also have any multitude of the previous modes. I mean, you've got 15th anniversary with, I think it was windmill mode and slot mode and so forth.
I think Windmill was
And
20th. Could be wrong.
20th though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Windmill was 20th.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then you've also got like 7, which has Dihenshin. I think Dihenshin is possible because of the 3D modeling system.
I think Dihenshin needs to return. Okay, we got Infinite Deca Rush, we got Infinite Chibi Rush. We got them. But what I loved about Puyo 7 was the fact that you could set whether you wanted to go into Chibi or into Deca. But at the same time, if you left it as a default setting, depending on what colour Puyo you erased would determine what mode you actually went in. I love that. That was one thing that I really did miss from 20th anniversary, was a full-fledged Dihenshin mode, because it was new, it was different, it was much better than Fever. You had to think tactically whilst playing, and it just brought a new dimension that I really did enjoy. It was refreshing.
That was my introduction back into Puyo, because I remember playing Sue / Mean Bean Machine / Kirby's Avalanche way back in the day.
That's
When I
a-
finally
yeah.
did get back into Puyo, 7 was the newest one.
Yeah, that's...
So that was the first one I played for a long time. It took me a long time to get used to it.
I know
You know, I thought it was stupid fun. I mean, it was, it could go anywhere.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what I loved about it. It was not so much the unpredictability, it was how you could handle the unpredictability. You didn't
Yeah,
know what way it was going to go. You could have a really strong game and think, okay, if I get into Chibi, I'm going to win this game. And then all of a sudden you're thrown into Deca and you're like, oh, hang on.
And then you're screwed.
But what I really liked about Puyo 7 was the fact that when you played online, full-fledged Dihenshin was supported. It's a shame that, for the most part anyway, you don't really get the full flavour of all the multiplayer options in 4-player when you play 20th anniversary. You only get the bog standard ones, which is a bit of a shame. It would be nice if, say when you do 4 players, you're actually open to the full lot online. I know offline you can do them all, but online you're only limited to...
So you're hoping for online multiplayer that has all the modes from single player.
Oh, hell yeah. I play that all day, every day, twice on Sunday. Thank you very much. Well, yeah. Yeah, do you want to give me Sega's address? I'll post them my credit card. They can have
Why
it.
do you not work for Sega?
Well, actually, if I worked for Sega, then, you know, Classic Puyo would be a thing, and all of it would be localized. Which now comes to this point. Obviously, there's a lot of excitement generated with Puyo Puyo Chronicle, and okay, I would admit I've kind of stoked the fire of the Western fan base, even though I'm not really attributed to the Western fan base anymore. I've kind of pulled myself well away from that, various reasons.
Yeah.
You know, fundamental reason is, if you want to work where I work, you need a good degree. I got a good degree. I had to sacrifice my communal tendencies, but that's neither here nor there. And I have actually got in contact with Sega, and I got... The first response was the bog standard, we haven't got any information this game at the moment. The second correspondence I got was, we haven't got any information this game at the moment. So they clearly aren't wanting to listen to the fans at the moment. I think they're concentrating all their efforts on Sonic's 25th anniversary, which is perfectly acceptable. This year is also the Hedgehog's 25th anniversary. And they're wanting to make sure that the games that are coming out for it, the new Sonic Generations game, which looks absolutely incredible, and Sonic Mania, which I'm going to buy the moment it's out on Steam. They're going to concentrate all their efforts onto it. But for us in the West that want to see a Puyo game in the full flesh, not a remaster like Puyo 2 as part of the Sega Arcade Classics collection, or the Puyo minigame series that was in the Project Diva.
Mirai.
Yeah, Mirai. That's all well and good.
Oh,
but
there was a Puyo thing on the
Yeah.
Diva game?
Yes,
It's a minigame.
it's a minigame.
Ah.
If you actually beat the campaigns as Miku and Kaito, you actually unlock the respective Puyo cosplay costume.
That's right.
Ah.
So it's a nice little touch, but I'm hoping, and at the same time, I'm hoping those that are within the Western fan base actually listen to what I'm about to say. I would love for everyone that loves this game series, to inundate every form of communication, just inundate it. Tell Sega, whether you email them, whether you write to them, whether you set up petitions, social media movements, make them aware that this is a game we want brought to the West.
Heck, the Puyo Chronicles for the West hashtag has been flying.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
had a
Puyo Chronicles
message
in the West.
tweet from John Horton earlier on today saying, "Oh, great, thanks Twitter. Simon got crushed to death by your Puyo Chronicles tweets. Rip and Puyo, Sam.
That should just be Rip Puyo. Just rest in Puyos.
Rip Puyo."
Yeah, Rip Puyo. There we go.
But you know the Rip and Peace joke.
Yes,
So they're catching on.
they are catching on.
Segue from Puyo Puyo 39, Miki's Puyo game. I'm wondering if the 3D style is considered from that, because it looks fairly similar.
That's one thing that I did actually see, was the fact that the art style was very Mirai-esque. But it's also, if you look at some of the, I believe it weren't Nenderoids that they had, there were other Figmas, weren't they? They released a set of Figmas which you could either buy pre-painted or paint them yourselves. And that whole style, it just screams that in this game. The 3D modelling is marvellous. I love it.
Yeah, but Series 3 Karagamen, I'm kind of like fully into it, wanting to see how it goes, and I'm optimistic. But with the new Puyo game, Puyo Chronicle, I'm cautiously optimistic. I know there's like a lot of thoughts about it, and not everything's set in stone yet. Like, we might even see some changes going on in the near future. That's very great.
I agree.
The fact that we're like just overhauling the living daylights out of the localization staffs and the social media teams, it means that we're doing rather well. And especially as part of a community, we're coming together, and that's the first in a long time.
This is one thing why I'm actually relieved for the Western fan base, and I've been very critical of the Western fan base for quite a while. There is an air of discontent within that fan base, but with a game like this where everyone's on the same page and actually, singing from the same hymn sheet, finally they're coming together for the collective good. They see the common denominator, which is their love for Puyo. Doesn't matter what their personal differences are, you can put that to one side. Fact is, they love this game series. They want to see this game series gain exposure in the West rather than just through normal social media platforms. Because those of us that are here today, obviously we're on the internet. The internet age is a massive thing. It is part of our everyday lives. We know about Puyo because we've seen videos on YouTube, or we've seen games being played. We've been able to buy the games. We've been able to yar the games.
I translated the light novels.
Yeah, Keiko here translates the light novels, and she helps out with some of the fan translations. I believe you do quality control for the Puyo Nexus translations, if I remember correctly.
Well, more or less. And the light novel translations is my it's a solo project of mine.
Indeed.
That's how I got back into Puyo, was from watching videos. I'm like, you know what? I want to play this game again, so I downloaded it because
Yar! Yeah. Yar!
As for me, it was 15. But I was like, I just like happenstance the Japanese Puyo side out of boredom, and then I saw 50th anniversary. I'm like, and then I looked at the character side, and then I saw like Shezo.
Yeah, wait, well, I mean, come on. They call me the Relu freak for a reason. If it's got Relu in it, I'm in. Thank you. Anyway.
Oh, man, right there. I'm like, I remember this guy.
Just so you people know, right? There are other female characters in Puyo that are available, right? In much the same way that there are other ways of other methods of playing the game are available. Okay, just a disclaimer out there, right? We don't want you to think that we're completely biased, even though we are. We just don't want you to think that we're completely biased, even though we are.
We're biased in a different way.
Don't you know it? Anyway, all that aside, you know, me personally, I want this game to do really well, and I hope it does come out in the West. That's not going to stop me from splashing out 10,000 yen to buy the anniversary edition, like the big collection box. It's a day one purchase for me. I'm fortunate enough to have a Japanese Nintendo 3DS, so I'll be able to play this game without worrying about modding my English 3DS or going through any homebrew routes or any modding route. I've got a Japanese 3DS, I've got games for my Japanese 3DS. I do understand a bit of Japanese, certainly enough to help me get through games like Pokemon and stuff like that, so this is a day one purchase for me, and I'm going to really enjoy playing this game. How about you guys? I mean, okay, some of you might not have Japanese 3DSs, but with the other routes that are available, is this going to be a day one purchase for you guys?
I wish I had the money.
If I had the money, it would be a whole different story for me. Yes, that would be a day one to purchase.
Probably for me, I have an old 3DS that's like stocked up and ready for that. But I'm rather cautious when it comes to the homebrew and the modding system, because while it's okay to show Sega my support, we know that Nintendo is always going on against the homebrew system, and we know that the homebrew channel sometimes goes off every now and then. So, but in that regard, it's not a problem for me, but I want to see a little bit more information before I say day one purchase.
Okay, I don't mind jumping the gun, because, you know, the perks that you get with the anniversary collector's box, you know, so much good stuff.
I wonder if it's anniversary. Oh, it's kind of a Poco Track CD. I wonder if it'll come with Puyo Puyo.
God, not Arles.
The thing is, that already existed in the Puyo Tetris soundtrack, so it might have been.
Oh God, don't remind me.
But yeah,
wasn't that in the DLC?
Yes, it was in the DLC. I bought the DLC on the 3DS version of Puyo Tetris because I could. I bought the DLC on the Vita version of Puyo Tetris because I could. And then obviously I got the PS4 version of Puyo Tetris, which comes with a DLC on it because it was a birthday present.
And because you could.
Well, no, a friend actually sent it to me.
But he still could.
Absolutely. I'm not disputing that at all. But it's the fact that, you know, you get comes with the 25th anniversary soundtrack, 25th anniversary vocal track, 25th anniversary drama CD, and of course the 25th anniversary theme for the 3DS. I'm in. I regret not being able to have the money to buy the complete collector's edition of Puyo 20th anniversary, because I would have loved to have had all of those pins.
Klug pin.
So at least
Except
I'm making...
the Klug pin, because he'd have sent it to me.
I don't know about that. I like my collections complete, thank you very much.
No.
But even still, you know, the fact that all of this exists, so I absolutely would.
Interesting thought. If it does get released in Europe and the US and all the other international areas, I would buy it on day one.
Oh, if it's international release, hell yeah, day one.
Shut up and take my money.
So whilst we're on that subject, obviously we know it's coming out for the 3DS. We don't know whether it's going to be released on other systems, although with 20th anniversary it first came out on the Nintendo DS, then the Wii and PSP versions came out, and then obviously when the 3DS came out, there was a 3DS version of the game. Plus Puyo Puyo Mini, which was a download title for the 3DS. It was just a 100 yen copy of the game, very cut down, very reduced, but did the job.
That gets multi-platform?
Right, I'm hoping it is multi-platform. Here's what I predict it's going to be. We'll have a PS Vita version, because I think, you know, Sega does still support the Vita, and with our Puyo Tetris on the Vita, it stands to reason that we're going to get... Well, that's a different kettle of fish. I do believe that the Vita version will get support. On the subject of multi-platform releases, obviously, when the 3DS came out, Puyo 20th Anniversary was released on it. When the PS4 and Xbox One came out, we had Puyo Tetris released on those two platforms. The NX is around the corner.
Ah, yes.
Oh,
I'm...
point.
But it brings up a valid point. We're hoping, I mean, we don't know all that much about the NX yet. You know, we've got certain rumours which we'll cover another time. But the fact is, if it is going to be a region-free platform, and it's going to be this console handheld hybrid, having a game like Puyo Chronicle, where you can play it on the go, then when you get back home, you can set it down, play it on the big screen TV. That would work wonders because you can use the RPG element for when you're out and about, and if it does have standard Puyo play when you come back, you want to play online with friends, set it down, connect it to the TV, grab your controller, Puyon if it's there, online, 4-player, I'm in, I'm sold. Any kind of Puyo, I'm sold.
So
In
you
that
think
regard-
it would? So you think it would? You could play it on the big screen from your 3DS?
From the NX, it says in the
or
next
not your
version,
NX,
yes.
I mean, yeah.
That's actually a very good idea.
That would be cool.
Although that would also help for events, like bring your own device. So maybe it will actually be a good working idea. I don't know if it's going to happen though, but the possibility's there.
It would be great. It really would be great. And I am a big fan of this series. I've been lucky enough to be a fan of this series for 23 years. You know, I've been playing this game nearly as long as it has existed. And I blame Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine for even introducing me to the game.
It was Kirby's Avalanche for me.
Second.
I mean, for many people, it was either Kirby's Ghost Trap
It was
or
one of the two.
Avalanche, yeah, or Mean Bean Machine. Wasn't necessarily Puyo Pop on the GBA, wasn't necessarily Puyo Pop on the SNK Neo Geo Pocket Color, nor was it necessarily Puyo Fever on any of the domestic platforms. We weren't fortunate enough to get the Dreamcast version.
Would be less likely, but it would still be possible.
Yes, absolutely.
Even with the original Puyo Puyo games, it was either hard to get or just unheard of. So now that we're on an online platform system and everything's working out so well, there's a much greater chance of either A, hearing about it, B, learning about it, or C, participating in the community.
And that will serve even better given the fact that these games are out there. There are people, not just in Japan or indeed Southeast Asia, but all over the world. As niche as this game series is outside of Japan, you only have to look at what Nintendo did with Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem was an extremely niche game. When Marth and Roy appeared in Smash Melee, that was the foundation to actually pushing Fire Emblem out there to the West. It's taken off. It's not impossible. And if Sega look at that and go, actually, that's a good model, that's a good idea. Even though we tried pushing Puyo out before, maybe the timing was all wrong. Let's see what happens now we've got this RPG style game that we know people will play. Let's see what happens when we push it out to the West. Because fans like all of us here will buy it. If I have to buy it again in English, you're damn right I will.
You told them your money either way.
Yeah, I'll give you money to import the game. I'll give you money if you localize it in Europe and North America. Happily, because I'm a Puyo fan.
Kind of case with this is the case that I have with the 3D Classics collection, because I'm a major physical supporter and I love the Classics collections. Especially on the Steam, like the Classics collection. I have all of the classics on the Mega Drive Classics collection on Steam. And I'm not okay with the idea of digital distribution, but I love the idea of physical distribution. And that's the reason why I pinned out and nagged Sega of Europe, along with a few hundred of us saying, Sega, please take our money.
Well, that's the thing. Because obviously both Nostalgia Ninja and I, we live in what's called the PAL territory, which is basically Europe, even though he's in South Africa, which isn't Europe, and I'm in the UK, which in a few years' time won't be part of the EU. I know, geography, politics, geopolitics, how does it work? Anyway, yeah, but we did actually make correspondence to Sega saying, we like this idea, we support the idea, we will happily buy it if you bring it out. They brought it out in America, we then pestered them for a European release, so much so that Nostalgia Ninja's tweet actually got pinned by Sega of Europe, and we're getting Sega Arcade Classics collection for the 3DS. We're getting that, funnily enough, around about the almost around about the same time as when this new game's going to come out a month later. So it's quite funny how that's worked out.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that again. And get this, I'm buying 2 copies of that 3D Classics collection.
I mean, okay, I don't have the physical copy, but I did buy it off the eShop on my Japanese 3DS. When it comes out in Europe, yes, I'm going to buy it. You know, and it's not because, oh, but you've got multiple copies of the game. Yeah, so I have Pokemon Omega Ruby on my Japanese 3DS. I have Alpha Sapphire on my English 3DS. I have bought so many different Puyo games for my collection. And I'm talking about from the entire range of main games, from Puyo 1 all the way through to Warrior at Lamont, which is Puyo Tetris. As aforementioned by myself, I've got Puyo Tetris for the 3DS, the Vita and the PS4. I have 20th anniversary for the DS, the 3DS and Wii. And I also downloaded the PSP version for my Vita. Puyo 2, I've got the Game Boy version, Super Nintendo version, remix as well for Super Nintendo. I've got the PC Engine version, yes, the Super CD. I've got the Saturn version. I've got Keteban, which is the PS1 version. I've got the Game Gear version. I've got the PC version. And the reason why I have all these versions is, yes, I've played them all. I do play them all. But it's because I'm such a fan of the series that if people want to borrow one of the games, I could say, oh, okay, try this and try this and try this. I mean, I even forgot to mention the Saturn version. I've got that as well. The only couple of versions I don't have of Puyo 2 is the Neo Geo Pocket Color version, which is for all intents and purposes the same as the Game Boy version. The Wonder Swan version, because I don't have a Wonder Swan, and the microcomputer versions, because I don't have a microcomputer. So, you know, PC 98 version I don't have. Oh well. Obviously I don't have an arcade cab, otherwise I probably would have had the arcade version. Technically that's part of the 3DS Sega Arcade Classics collection, so make of that what you will. But you get my point. I have all these different games because I like them. I've been a fan of the series for so long, and I still continue to support the series. So if this game does get localised and it's released in English, of course I'm going to buy it again. It's a no-brainer. And this is where the fan base is really going to rally together because they want this game. They're actively seeking Sega out. They're actively saying, we want this. Bring Puyo Chronicle to the West. Bring it, bring it, bring it. And I hope that you continue to do that, because if we get it, who knows? They might look back and go, okay, we can localise this game as well. It's extremely unlikely, and I know people want Puyo Tetris to be localised, but the problem is Puyo Tetris is fine in Japan, but to localise it for the Western audience, you have to go through Ubisoft. That's a legal battle that Sega don't want. So as much as we would love to have Puyo Tetris released in the West, unless there's a translation patch, it's not going to happen, which is a shame, but that's the problem with businesses and licensing in general.
There's a huge major headache in regards to Puyo Tetris, and that's basically licensing headaches from the Tetris company. They've had a long line of localization and even release headaches just because of it. Being from the Tetris side of things, I'm aware that even as it stands, we're still having continuous issues with Tetris games even to this day. My introduction to Puyo was initially the 20th anniversary, but it eventually became Tetris because I actually came back in the Tetris game because it's fun. My biggest problem is the way that the Tetris company does all these kinds of things. But that's a whole semantics issue for another day. Right now it's about Puyo Puyo Chronicle, it's about 25th anniversary of the series, it's about making sure that we can all stand together and say, okay, we want this game. Let's bug them through all the channels. We had a stream earlier this week where we just, in the middle of the Sega Europe stream, we said, Puyo Chronicles for the West. So we're continuously doing this, even on the site itself. The official Puyo video has some hashtags of that as well. I believe there's a Sega forum thread going on, but it's not too new yet. So it'll eventually gain some traction, but give it a little bit of time. We'll see maybe 3-4 pages on the Sega forums. I don't really think we'll see much traction on the Sega forums, but on social media we're having outstanding results.
And so it must continue as such, because, as I said, we're all going to band together, we're all supporting this movement. Everyone here in this room is supporting this movement. I have been proactive in contacting Sega directly. I want more people to do the same, because the more of us that hammer on about it, what are they going to do? Just not answer their calls? Not read their emails? Come on, of course they are.
Not listen to their tweets.
But they got no choice when their Twitter's been hijacked. We want this to happen, and it is a great opportunity, and not just for us as Puyo fans, but also for fans that probably have never heard of the game series before. They might have heard of Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine in passing, or Kirby's Ghost Trap in passing, you know, anything like that. It might give them something new to look at. I mean, who knows? Even people that played Tetris, the moment they played Puyo, other than the fact that they didn't know what was going on, they actually grew to like the game because it's similar to Tetris. I mean, Puyo Tetris just kind of speaks volumes all in itself. But this is a social media movement that everyone here, we are going to tell you guys, Keep on doing it. Keep putting the message out there. We are right behind you. If you have any petitions, we will sign them. If you have any further movements on what we can do, like say bring Puyo Chronicle to the West, or other kind of social media movements, let it be known. Get it across all social media platforms quickly. Let it gather pace. Let it snowball. Because the more that we put into this, and Sega do listen to their fans. They might not appear to, or might not seem to, but they do. You take Sonic Mania, for example. Keep the message going forward. Keep the momentum going. We're right behind you all the way. So in closing, obviously we want you to keep going on with hammering it to Sega. We want this game, we want this game, we want this game. Do you believe that Sega will seriously consider, given their previous track record, they haven't always, but more recently they have, do you think they will actually listen to, and it really is just the hundreds of us, maybe thousands, but it's certainly not hundreds of thousands like it is in Japan. Do you think there'll be enough of a movement for us? And if we can get more people on board, do you think there'll be enough movement for us to truly hashtag bring Puyo Chronicle to the West?
I think it's inevitable. Like, we are showing a massive movement. We're busy showing a great momentum. If we keep the momentum on, I think we'll have a great response. I think we need to be as aggressive as we are now, if not even more aggressive. The movement seems to be fairly good, actually, considering the fact that we're just bounding up together. Even from before the official announcement, we've been wanting this thing. We've been pushing for this thing. And the more we go on, I hope it becomes as successful as the Shenmue 3 movement, or even previous movements that I've been in that's been mildly successful. Sega, do listen. You just need to be loud enough for it.
Seventh Dragon 3 happened. That literally came out of nowhere for me. And announced it, I'm like, my mind was just blown that is actually happening. I mean, that game had absolutely no ground in the States. The fact that they're bringing it over just blew my mind.
Well, this is it. No risk, no reward. If there's enough support from the fans outside of Japan to say, we want this game, it is, as you say, Nostalgia Ninja, and I quite agree. I want to be positive and say it is inevitable. Realistically, we don't know whether it's going to happen or not. It may never come to fruition, which would be a great shame. But I don't think, and maybe it's because the combined Puyo community hasn't really galvanized in such a way, but with Puyo Tetris, there was hardly any movement to bring it to the West. And it's such a shame that never really got to that point, whereas now with Puyo Chronicle, we want it. So I'm hopeful, I want to be positive and say I'm confident, and I'm going to be bullish and say I'm confident that it's going to happen. Sometime next year, maybe it'll be June next year, July next year, but I have a feeling it will happen. And I hope it does, because it will be a great victory for all of us fans that want this game. Thank you for listening. My thanks to Keiko Kawasaki, AFK, who's here. Thanks to Nostalgia Ninja as well, and to Zelos1826. All three for your inputs. Thank you very much indeed. Let us know what you think in the comment section below. Share this video, repost this video, get your thoughts, reply to this video. We don't mind if...
comment, subscribe.
Yeah, well, that as well. We don't mind if you leave any kind of feedback, positive feedback, constructive criticism, you name it, we take it. I know we've been a bit quiet, but that's because we've all been busy with things outside our control, but this is big and we wanted to bring it to you guys. So hope you enjoyed watching us and listening to us ramble on like old people in old people's home, and I'm sure we'll be... No, exactly.
Get off my lawn!
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, cheers guys, and thanks for you guys for listening and watching, and we hope to catch you next time. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Later.
Bye.